So that's it. Game of Thrones is officially over. But the series left us with some things to talk about. The writers made some pretty shocking decisions when it came to Jon, Drogon, and Bran's story arc. Jon killing Daenerys is very reminiscent of how her father died. Just before Daenerys' birth, Jaime Lannister killed a man he swore to protect in the throne room to save all of King's Landing from burning. Jon was a little late. But more importantly, this scene is a promised prince prophecy becoming reality. In the legends of this world, a hero from the past drove a sword into his love's heart, and it created a fire sword that saved the world from darkness. The return of this hero was who Melisandre was looking for. Instead, this time around, the fire weapon was Drogon destroying the Iron Throne in order to save the world. Daenerys' death was to be expected, especially after last week's episode, but I didn't think Drogon would survive the end of the series. That scene where Jon was approaching the Red Keep's ruins and Drogon shakes off all the snow it was buried under was handled beautifully. I wasn't sure if Drogon would even let Jon see Daenerys because of all his hostility towards her, but I'm not even sure if dragons can sense that in this series. I know in the books the direwolves were always good at that. They were guides to the Stark kids and always knew who was friend or foe and would attack anyone that meant them harm. Jon's Targaryen blood has put him on good terms with the dragons, even though he was magically bonded with Rhaegal, just like Dany was with Drogon. Drogon could have also had an attachment to Jon. We see that he did let Jon pet him last season, plus that eerie stare this season. Dany and Drogon are so closely bonded, so maybe because she loved him, Drogon also felt some kind of affection for Jon. He's always been the only dragon with any characterization, but this episode really expanded on it. Dragons are known to be very intelligent, not like your average reptile. He was smart enough to understand Jon's actions and realize it was the Iron Throne that led Dany to an early grave. Drogon realized it was Dany's thirst for power that caused her death, and not Jon. Dragons have no issues killing other Targaryens. A lot of that happened during the Targaryen civil war called the Dance of Dragons, so it's not like his Targaryen blood magically stopped Drogon's rage. I don't like a lot what they did this season, but I did enjoy Drogon's conclusion. After melting down the Iron Throne, he takes off with Daenerys' corpse, with no definite answer as to where he's heading. Westeros has been nothing but a disaster for dragons, so it was smart to get the hell out of there. Dragons thrive in warmer climates anyways, and it doesn't get much warmer than Valyria, where the Targaryens and dragons originate from. It's nothing but ruins after the volcanic cataclysm that destroyed this civilization hundreds of years ago, but Drogon would be happy here, unbothered by humans. I'm fine with their destination being left a mystery, but it would have been cool to actually see Bran as a crow spying on Drogon, since Game of Thrones won't be getting a sequel. The spin-offs in development are all prequels. It's also possible Drogon is flying to Asshai, where there have always been rumors about dragons in the mountains nearby. This area is also very mysterious and scarcely populated. Seeing dozens of other dragons in the sky would add a lot to the world building, but something like that isn't necessary. After killing Daenerys, Jon is sent right back to where his story began, to the Wall as a brother of the Night's Watch. It's a pretty sad conclusion for the man who saved the world again, but this isn't a fairy tale. On the bright side, he's reunited with Ghost. This is very similar to what happened to the original Three-Eyed Raven. He was a Targaryen bastard and the hand of the king, who decided to take drastic measures to save the realm, and this got him sent to the Wall, where he soon became the Lord Commander. I guess Jon just gets that promotion by default after everything he's been through. I'm surprised Sam didn't join him. He has to be the only man to ever become the Grand Maester before ever even being a Maester. I don't know what the Night's Watch will be doing now that the wildlings are all cool and the Night King has been defeated. Beyond the Wall is a pretty mysterious place, so maybe some border patrol will make the rest of Westeros feel safe. Jon really didn't want to become king, but this way they can avoid a fight with the Unsullied. The Dothraki clearly didn't care about Dany's death. After their leader's death, the Dothraki have the strongest amongst them take on the role, so they probably already moved on and are back to planning pillages. Who knows if they'll stay on Westeros or return to Dothraki Sea on Essos. After Grey Worm is satisfied with Jon's judgment, all of the Unsullied sail to Nath. They don't have anywhere else to go. Missandei did rave about how beautiful her homeland was. Too bad she forgot to mention the deadly butterflies of Nath. I'm sure they don't exist in the Game of Thrones version of this world, but Nath, also known as the Isle of Butterflies, is a very unique place. The people are so peaceful that they don't even fight back against pirates and slavers, so it's become a popular spot for them to revisit. But every outsider would soon die from a horribly painful death due to a plague spread by the island's butterflies. The Nathi are immune and see them as their gods and messengers. Arya is off on her own separate journey that I might talk about in a dedicated video, because we just recently found out in George Martin's latest world-building book, Fire and Blood, what's west of Westeros. But that's a topic on itself. With no Iron Throne, the next king is elected amongst the great lords of the Seven Kingdoms. Well, the Six Kingdoms, now that Sansa has taken the North out of the realm to rule itself. And the next king elected ended up being Bran. Yup, Bran. It's such a weird decision on the writer's part, but looking at the candidates laid out, I didn't really care what happened. A satisfying ending was all I hoped for when things started feeling like a different show in Season 5, but I kinda gave up on that after episode 3 and 5 of this season. I don't have a lot to say about Bran becoming king, because I've been trash talking this character all season long. It's pretty disappointing how they treated the most powerful being in the series. He's obviously more fit to be an advisor, seeing as he has no experience ruling anything, or even doing anything right. I remember how much hate I was getting when I told people Littlefinger would be the best king, but the writers of the show even outdid my crazy choice. Just imagine if Littlefinger made his way from the bottom to the small group of great lords to king, but I think I've talked about that enough too. The fact that Bran made Tyrion his hand probably means he will be doing most of the ruling while Bran is off warging and using his green sight. What do you guys think of the finale? Are you surprised with Jon, Drogon, and Bran's conclusion, or did you stop caring halfway through the season like a lot of us viewers? There are a few things I want to talk about, so I should be back pretty soon with more videos. See you guys later.